A high income can quietly reduce your financial flexibility. The more you earn, the harder it can become to move your life. This sounds backward. Income has always been the signal of financial progress. Higher salary meant stronger security, faster wealth, and more freedom over time. That belief shaped entire careers. Work harder, become valuable, increase income. The assumption felt logical because income was once the primary engine of financial control. But something subtle has shifted. In 2026, income often arrives already assigned to obligations before it ever becomes usable money. The result is a strange contradiction. Many people earn more than previous generations ever imagined. Yet their financial flexibility feels increasingly narrow. The difference sits quietly in a detail most people ignore. Income is not the same thing as cash flow. Income measures how much money enters your life. Cash flow measures how much money remains under your control, and the distance between those two numbers has quietly expanded. The visible effect appears everywhere. High earners still feel pressure between paychecks. Promotions relieve stress briefly, then new obligations form around the higher income. Expenses scale with earning power. Housing upgrades follow salary increases. Lifestyle expectations expand. Professional networks normalize higher consumption. The financial system encourages this pattern because income signals borrowing capacity. When income rises, lenders increase access to credit. Mortgage approvals expand. Auto financing grows easier. Lines of credit become larger. This feels like financial progress. But the invisible mechanism works differently. Debt converts future income into present lifestyle. A larger salary does not simply increase purchasing power. It increases the amount of future labor that can be committed today. In other words, rising income often expands financial promises faster than it expands financial control. Cash flow begins shrinking inside growing income. The behavioral trap forms quietly. People respond to pressure the way they were taught. When expenses feel heavy, the solution seems obvious. Increase income again. Work longer. Pursue promotions. Accept additional responsibility. Each increase temporarily restores breathing room, but new obligations soon reorganize around the higher earnings. Financial pressure returns, now at a larger scale. What began as financial progress slowly becomes income dependency. Cash flow remains thin even as earnings grow. This is why many high earners experience a strange financial fragility. Their income is strong, their wealth appears significant, but their margin for disruption becomes smaller over time. A job loss threatens more obligations. A career change becomes harder to consider. Relocation requires renegotiating a larger lifestyle structure. High income quietly increases the cost of financial movement. And movement is where flexibility lives. The structural lock-in develops slowly. Housing becomes anchored to income level. Schools align with neighborhood expectations. Professional identity ties itself to compensation. Each element reinforces the others. Leaving the income structure risks destabilizing the entire arrangement. So the system continues running. Income increases. Expenses adapt. Cash flow remains constrained. Over time, the difference between earning power and financial freedom becomes more visible. Two individuals can earn the same income, yet experience entirely different levels of control. One converts income into expanding cash flow. The other converts income into expanding commitments. From the outside, they look identical. Inside their financial systems, they are living completely different realities. The shift becomes clearer when economic conditions change. Interest rates rise. Asset prices fluctuate. Employment markets tighten. These forces do not affect income immediately. They affect cash flow first. Loan payments adjust. Insurance costs rise. Investment contributions fluctuate. Suddenly, income stability no longer guarantees financial stability. The structure supporting that income becomes the real risk. And this is where the recognition begins to feel personal. Most people did not choose financial fragility intentionally. They followed responsible behavior. They pursued education. They advanced careers. They accepted promotions. They upgraded living conditions as income increased. Every decision aligned with conventional financial wisdom. But the system those decisions operate inside has changed. Income growth alone no longer guarantees expanding freedom, because modern financial systems are designed to absorb income growth quickly. Housing markets expand to meet higher salaries. Consumer industries design lifestyles around professional earnings. Credit markets translate income signals into borrowing opportunities. Each system quietly converts future income into present commitments. This process rarely feels dangerous. It feels deserved. It feels like progress. It feels like the natural reward for hard work. But financial control does not expand simply because income rises. Control expands when money remains uncommitted. And that difference is where the identity collision occurs. People who believed they were becoming financially secure begin noticing a different pattern. They cannot pause work easily. They cannot relocate without disruption. They cannot reduce workload without financial consequences. Their income is high, yet their optionality feels low. This realization rarely arrives suddenly. It appears during small moments. A job opportunity in another city becomes complicated. A career pivot seems financially unrealistic. A temporary break from work appears impossible. The income that once represented freedom now protects the structure built around it. The financial system quietly reversed the relationship. Income began serving lifestyle instead of freedom, and the longer this continues, the harder it becomes to reverse. Because financial commitments accumulate faster than flexibility. Mortgage timelines extend decades. Professional identity becomes tied to earning power. Children's education aligns with income expectations. Reducing income later threatens multiple layers of life simultaneously. So the system persists. High income continues flowing through increasingly complex financial structures. Cash flow remains narrow. Wealth might grow on paper, but freedom does not always grow alongside it. And this creates the final consequence most people never expected when they first pursued higher income. The cost of financial independence becomes measured not in money alone, but in time. Time required to unwind commitments. Time required to rebuild cash flow. Time required to regain optionality. Those costs accumulate quietly while income rises visibly, which is why the modern financial question is slowly changing. Not how much you earn, but how much of that income still belongs to you. Because when income expands without cash flow expanding alongside it, financial control does not increase. It concentrates inside obligations that must continue functioning. And the unsettling realization is that many people will not notice this shift while their income is rising. They will notice it only when they attempt to step outside the structure their income quietly built around them. If this way of looking at money is useful to you, you'll find more like it on the Finance Simplified channel.